Thank you, Mr. Chairman. St. Louis and I are here today for this convening on threats to our nation's power grid and to elaborate on the real, actual attacks it faces by white nationalists across our country. For years, law enforcement and researchers have been monitoring violent white supremacist groups and their targeting of our country's power grid. Many in these groups call themselves accelerationists. They've put out how-to manuals to make it easier to attack critical infrastructure like the electric grid, and are convinced that the best way to achieve their goal of a white supremacist future is to cause a societal collapse by plunging it into darkness. Mr. Monken, I briefly spoke during my opening remarks, but are domestic terrorist groups a current threat to the United States energy infrastructure?
Yes, they absolutely are.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, those with hate in their hearts do not want to see all communities of people succeed, especially our Black and brown communities. Over the last 2 years, the FBI arrested 3 different groups of white supremacists for attacking or plotting to attack our power grid. Mr. Monken, what steps have the federal government and federal energy regulators taken to address the risk of physical attacks on the electric grid?
Currently, I believe they're insufficient, frankly. So there are some existing standards known as CIP, or Critical Infrastructure Protection, specifically designated CIP 14 for physical security of critical installations or critical substations within the bulk electric system. But right now, it's still insufficient for what we need.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Monken, what can Congress do better to ensure that the national electric grid system is safe from physical attack? What can we do?
Having a clear understanding of what the most effective mitigation strategies really are from a physical security standpoint, I think is hugely important, and then placing a significant priority on how those projects are ultimately introduced, reviewed for their just and reasonable costs, and then ultimately approved to make sure that those facilities are secure enough that we have confidence that they'll deliver that reliable power that the people need.
Okay, thank you. The people of St. Louis currently face high utility bills, extreme weather, and air that is unhealthy to breathe. And on top of all of that, white supremacists want to sabotage the power grid and foment chaos and fear in our communities. We must invest in and foster the growth of green energy and the infrastructure needed to deliver power to the people of St. Louis. I look forward to working with FERC to make this happen as quickly as possible. My constituents don't have time to wait. Now, on the issue of our clean energy transition, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's chief scientist, quote, not only was 2023 the warmest year in NOAA's 173 climate record, it was the warmest by far, end quote. And so that's scary, and it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for our children and for our grandchildren who will inherit this mess if we don't address the horrors of climate change. So, Mr. Monken, very briefly, how does climate change affect the community's need and demand for energy?
Well, in a very significant way, recognizing the fact that not only are these climate-driven events a significant exacerbator of existing challenges that we have for grid reliability, meaning they're more likely to cause the types of outages at both the scale and the duration that are going to have those very human consequences. They also disproportionately affect communities of low economic status, recognizing they disproportionately affect these minority communities that do not have the financial wherewithal or the ability to avert the worst case impacts of those particular disasters. So it's something that we really need to address through a deliberate action towards energy equity, recognizing that the ability to pay is not the prerequisite for the ability to receive the reliable power that you need.
That's a quote. In my opening statement, I spoke of my constituents and marginalized communities who bear the brunt of the high cost of burning fossil fuels for power generation. These costs can be both physical and monetary. Mr. Monken, can you briefly explain how investing in clean power grid enables economic growth?
Absolutely. The aggregated economic impacts of the clean energy transition are dramatic and significant. And when we look at where jobs can be really built and sustained in support of the green energy transition, it's a much more equitable distribution of where those jobs can really be built and then again sustained as we get through the transition itself. So recognizing that this is a necessary driver, we should not be in the back seat for the clean energy transition and let even global adversaries take a pole position on how this transition occurs, we really need to enforce our right to be able to be the first movers in this space and harness the full economic value of it.
Thank you, and I yield back.